Yo, what's the deal, fam? It's your man Eeze. A beautiful Saturday morning out here, getting this walk in. Make sure you get up and do something too as well, man. Moving is medicine. But I had a question for you guys. All over social media, people are talking about rings and ring culture and what it means to them. So I have a question to you. You know, I relate everything back to hip hop, right? What would you consider to be a ring within hip hop culture? I give you some options, but let me know what you think in the comment section. But some options would be a Grammy Award, I don't know, debuting #1 on Billboard, your album, maybe your Spotify monthly listeners. People love to talk about that. Is that a Grammy? I mean, is that a ring? Perhaps a classic album. That could be a bona fide option. Is it the amount of money that you've accumulated over time? Just a question. And of all the things that I mentioned, before I go any further, let me know your answer in the comment section. But if I could answer that or give just a quick response, the first thing that comes to mind for me would have to be a classic album. And here's why. Awards, whether it be Grammy, BET Awards, MTV, debut at #1, all of those things can take place, or you can garner those things by having the machine behind you. You know, that's like a cheat code. And I'm saying everyone has benefited from that. For the most part, that happens. When we're talking about a classic album, I think that's the true definition of success. Not monetarily per se, but as an artist, that means that you went in there, chose the studio, chose the direction, put the correct people in place, whether it's the A&R, who's going to produce, who's going to be the recording engineer, who's going to be the mixing engineer, who's going to be the mastering engineer. All those things require time, right? And that's like equivalent to like the 82 games season, right? It's a process. It's the only thing that makes room or has integrity in it, for the most part. For the most part, a classic album. And although we all have our biases, we have universally respected classic albums. But this kind of like harps on another point too, where we are in the industry or in this world where album sales still seem to be something that people are seeking or making the barometer. But even with that, with all the manipulation that's happening over time with the numbers, is that true success? Is that the culture? Is that a ring? Is that a championship? That's monetary gain. So I need to know. I don't have all the answers, but for me, I'm gonna go with classic album. But for you, what do you consider to be a ring in hip hop? I don't know. The options are endless. You can come up with an array of different options. I gave you maybe 4 or 5. But I want to know your opinion, because the game is a mess right now. There's some great music out there. Don't ever get that twisted. I can find great music on a daily, you know, or even go back to the classics. But with all the headline grabbing or some people seeking attention, I just wanted to know from your point of view, what's considered a ring in hip hop culture? Let me know in the comment section. About to finish up this walk and read some of them comments, and I'll be sure to respond back. Y'all be well out there. It's your man Eeze at the Eeze Experience. As always, go get yours. Yeah. Yo, what's the deal, fam? It's your man Eeze. Happy Father's Day to all the gentlemen out there doing their jobs, man. We appreciate y'all. But a lot of talk out here about relevancy. In particular, Jim Jones' name always comes up. For whatever reason, Nas is involved as well. But relevancy, in my opinion, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because a lot of people seem to think that's the barometer as to who is successful, right? But relevancy can also mean that you're just trying to fit in with your contemporary. So being relevant doesn't always mean that you are unique or you're any good at your craft, right? Now, that's not any shade to anyone that I'm speaking of, but we got to be very careful, like when we speak on those things, because relevancy isn't something we should always strive for, right? You want to be effective. And that's what Escobar is, Nas and Jones. Not saying that Jim Jones isn't, but the fact that these two are even paired together in a conversation is nasty work. And you can't even blame the youngsters for this, because I'm seeing a lot of OGs or older gentlemen on social media push the narrative. I don't know if it's for clicks, views, or just, engagement farming, but the fact of the matter is, how could you even pair these two together? Music-wise, we already know how that goes. Jim Jones, we respect his work ethic, and yet he's relevant because he's decided to garner the attention from a demographic that someone like Nas is outgrown. In that capacity, as far as commercial success goes, he may pull them to the side and drop jewels, or want to see them grow and evolve into elder statesmen. But the problem with Jim Jones is that he's relevant because he decided and made a conscious decision to still move like a youngster. So I don't know why we continue to have these discussions. I did a video maybe about 2 months ago concerning this, when Jim Jones was on The Breakfast Club, and Charlamagne asked him, how does it feel to be the oldest young ninja, something like that. And I thought that was kind of like a backhanded compliment. But some people, that's exactly what they want. This is the success that he's always wanted. But to continue to throw him in the same pot as Nas is crazy. And if Nas isn't relevant, based on the way some people like to use that term or word, why are they always bringing him up? Why is he always the barometer? Why is he always the standard? And why is Jim Jones' relevancy always attached to someone else, whether it's beefing with Cam or challenging Styles P to a versus, or just saying outlandish things? Because hits, what is a hit nowadays? What memorable hit does Jim Jones have outside of balling? I'm talking about a hit. Y'all talking hits, right? Because a lot of it is just regional. And we're not talking about records that you did over in a freestyle capacity. A lot of people like to have revisionist history. And that's why music is what it is, because it seems like the discourse, the takes, and the arguments and debates have more traction than the actual music. And I'm not really here for that. I just wanted to give my 2 piece, because to even continue to compare Nas and Jim Jones is absurd. And I expect much more from some elder statesmen in the game. And what do you expect if you're going to ask an 18, 19-year-old about relevancy? Of course they're going to gravitate to the individual who dresses like them, who talks like them. Growth is where it's at, man. Not to say that Jim isn't evolving as a human, but one could say, musically, is that something you look forward to? Is the antics, sitting down on the couch in an interview and leaning back intentionally so money can fall out your pocket? That's relevancy? That's being relevant? If that's what y'all want, y'all can have it. Some of us enjoy just being successful, doing what we do and staying under the radar. And I think that's what people aren't gathering. Esco has never been that type of dude that always wanted the limelight. He stayed true his whole career. And granted, this is about relevancy and Jim Jones and Nas. Neither one of them are perfect men. Everyone's flawed. But when it comes to comparison, y'all gotta knock this off. Because you're dealing with the situation and the topic within the vacuum. And you really start breaking it down, it really doesn't make sense. Wall Street Trapper is a phenomenal investor from what we see, right? Some of the stuff that he shares and how his story went and turned his life around based on what we've been told. But just because he's more relevant than Warren Buffett, does that mean he's more effective? We gotta really start thinking about things, man. Relevant. Everything is cameras, lights, camera, action, glitz, glamour. Let's get back to who's effective. And when we're talking hits, no comparison. When we're talking culture over a long period of time, because Jim Jones got some decades in, no comparison. When we're talking writing, no comparison. Even on the fashion sense, was tip when Nas first came out. If you know, you know. So shout out to Jim Jones, shout out to the best ever Nas, and to all the pundits and the media personalities and the YouTubers and the influencers who are pushing this whack narrative. Let's bring it to a cease because it doesn't even make any sense. Relevancy. Everybody doesn't want to fit in. Some people just want to be unique, bring something different to the game, and remain effective. That's what it's about. Effectiveness. All right? That's just my opinion. About to finish up my walk. Y'all be good today. Happy Father's Day to all the gentlemen out there. All right? Go get your Gia.